Hi everybody, so I'm here today with another top 5 of not necessarily the year, it's my top 5 in general, including any new releases from this year if they made it into my top 5. So today it is the turn of setting powders and primers. Both products I use every single day, and if you know me, I'm massive about powder. I use powder every single day all over. I can't bear tackiness and I prefer to apply the rest of my makeup on top of a powder. I've been on quite the mission over the last year testing out powders, so this is a very, very good top 5 because I have found some good ones and I'm really happy with what I have found. And primers also very, very happy, so I can't wait to share them with you. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Hannah, I'm 48 and I love luxury makeup, and here on my channel I show you lots of luxury makeup, favourite looks, also close-ups and swatches, everything you could ask for really if you're looking for new releases and favourites. And I've also got mature skin if that's helpful to you. Anyway, that is enough about me. Let's dive straight into this top 5 setting powder and primer review. Well, I call it a review. It's not really a review, is it? It's just telling you my top 5. Anyway, forgive me. I am really, really bogged down again with work and my brain is going so if you're looking at my eyes thinking, why has she got warm eyes with a cool top? I'm in the middle of Hanmas being my daily filming of eyeshadows picked by my husband. So I can't reveal what's gone on, but let's just say Hanmas got me with the top and the eye look. Anyway, so let's go straight to primers and we'll start with the one in 5th place. So Myricks, this is quite a new one from Myricks. This is the Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. This is in 5th. It probably could get a bit higher if it wasn't for the fact that it's got quite a strong soapy smell, which is not great. Apart from that, I love it. That's the only problem I've got with it. The smell does go once it's gone in. It's a lovely, lovely sort of quite rich but lightweight at the same time, if you know what I mean. It feels rich, but it's lightweight. It's not heavy. Does that make sense? It blends in beautifully, and for me, I'm always looking for a moisturising base. So this is one, if you want to skip moisturiser in your skincare routine, you absolutely can by using this. It's brilliant for priming and moisturising, so it's a double, which is something I really find works well for me. I usually don't include a moisturiser in my skincare routine in the mornings anymore because I do tend to go for moisturising primers. So this is why it certainly ticks that, but it also works beautifully with just about every single thing I've tried it with. So it works very well with the Myricks foundation stick, but it also works very well with everything else I've tried it with. And I do need that moisturising base, particularly in the warmer months. The cooler months, I told you I was having problems. Particularly in the cooler months when the heating's on and my skin's dry and makeup is starting to argue with foundation and I'm getting problems in specifically the nose area. So this has been a really, really successful one for me. I can really smell that soapy smell though. That is the downside of it, unfortunately. Anyway, number 4, and this is a brand that will pop up again in this video. Stop right now if you can guess where it might be popping up, but this brand will certainly be popping up again. And that is Fenty. I probably could have put this higher because I literally use this all the time, but these are the new 2. You can see which one I use the most. The new 2 primers from Fenty. I love this packaging. I love the way it looks. I think it is funky, it's different, it's cool. This is the one I use all the time though. This one is the moisturising one, which basically does exactly the same as the Myricks without the stinky smell. And it's worked again underneath every single base, every single foundation, every single cream product I've put on top. This one is slightly thicker than Myricks, I would say. Slightly thicker. Actually a little bit more moisturising, a little bit more. But obviously my skin is struggling to absorb that because I've just put the Myricks on, so I should really wipe it all off, which I will do now. But yeah, this has been a really big success for me. It's just very easy to use, very affordable. Fenty products are very affordable compared with some of the real high-end prices, like the one I'll be showing you next. So this is beautiful. But I've put the 2 together. I've included them as one for number 4 because this is the mattifying one. The full title of this one is the Hydrating Plumping Primer, the one I use the most, and it's going back here because I keep it on the top of my desk. And this one is the mattifying one. So this one is called Mattifying Blurring Primer. I notice some blurring with this, not a lot, but enough. So I do definitely see my pores here blur when I use it. This one is particularly good if you're using something, in my case, that's quite glowy. Like today, I've been using the Victoria Beckham foundation. I've also been testing out the Outside In foundation. So I've actually done a double, one on each side of the face today for a different video, which you'll probably see at some point, comparing the two. Both of which are quite shiny, especially the Victoria Beckham. So if you're someone who loves the finish of Victoria Beckham, but you don't like how shiny and glowy it is, putting something like this underneath is a really, really, really good combination. So if you have glowy foundations in your collection, you just would like to bring it down a tad and have it a little bit less shiny, this is a really, really good primer to have. Again, it gives me the moisturising qualities that I need from the other one, but it does that too. So this gives you the double purpose. So these are just both perfect primers for me to keep on my desk and pull out whichever one I need the most. The moisturising one being the one I need with most products. But I have been enjoying that mattifying one, specifically with that Victoria Beckham foundation. That's a really good combination. But now we're moving to number 3, and the one that costs a small fortune. I'm not going into prices and details and ingredients, but I know this one is the most expensive by a mile out of everything I'm showing you. And this one is the Chantecaille. I do believe they've got a massive sale running at the moment in the Black Friday deals. So perfect opportunity to pick up one of the most beautiful primers I have ever tried in my life. I adore this one. I like the golden one as well, but this one's my favourite. So this one is the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint. This is just heavenly, it really is. Again, it gives me the moisturising properties that we talked about. So again, I don't need a moisturiser in my skincare routine. It's worth pointing out my full skincare routine though is always milky toner followed by vitamin C followed by a very moisturising SPF. So I already do have a lot of moisturising products on my face that have sunk in before I start my makeup. So it's not like I don't have something, but I just don't need to add moisturiser into that routine. So it cuts that out, and then this does exactly the same sort of thing as we get from my camera battery just died, so if I've slightly changed position, that's why. So yes, this one has a gorgeous moisturising property. It also has a lovely, beautiful rose fragrance, which makes it superbly pleasant to use. This is the most lightweight out of all of the ones I've shown you so far. So this is not that sort of thick, rich one. It's very lightweight, but it still gives plenty of hydration. Not quite as much as the one I would put at number 1. And that's why this is at number 3, and also because it's so expensive. But it is an absolute joy to use, and again, this one works brilliantly underneath all of my makeup. My skin loves it. I have really healthy skin when I regularly use this. I often go through phases of using this one and the golden one every single day, and I feel like my skin benefits from it because it's packed full of goodies. This is absolutely stunning. I love this one. It's a real treat. So if you want to spoil yourself, I really recommend it. It's gorgeous. And like I said, there are sales on. I'm not putting out, by the way, a Black Friday sale video. I just want to get on with content and telling you what I love, which hopefully is helpful, rather than one video just about sales. I feel a little bit wrung out with all the sales, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I wouldn't be surprised if you do too. So I didn't really want any content with the word sale, but I am putting posts out every single day when I see good offers, so please do look out for those. I am putting them out every time I think, oh, I think people would enjoy this. And also there's companies that I work with which are giving me increased discount codes, so as soon as they do that, I put the codes out. One to look out for, by the way, I've just done a video with that, but anyway, Calcium. If you know Calcium skincare, I've already got a good discount code. I think it's 15%, but I got a message from them yesterday. My discount code for a couple of days only is going to shoot up. I haven't got the full details yet, so I'm waiting for it, but look out for that, because if you want to try any skincare from them, I think it's going to last about 2 days and it's going to shoot up, so definitely worth looking out for that. But I am putting out all of my discount codes that are increased during this period. A lot of them will be running out, I think, on December the 1st, some of them till December the 2nd. They might then come in with the, is it Cyber Monday or something? I don't know. It tends to get extended and then the sales go on and on and on. And I know they're great, but oh my goodness, it's a bit overwhelming. I get probably about 100 messages from companies a day asking me to promote stuff for Black Friday. and I'm promoting stuff if I use them and if I think they're good deals, or if I think you would benefit from it, because I know you like those products. So do look out for them on my Instagram stories, on my posts here on YouTube. If you go to my channel under posts, it doesn't say community anymore. Every day I'm posting deals if I think they might benefit you, but I'm not doing an exclusive video. Let me know if you think I should have done a Black Friday video with sales, and maybe next year I will, but for this year I just felt I wanted to get on with real content, so that's where we are with that. So that was number 3. Now we're going to move on to number 2 and number 1, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to show you me trying it on. So here I am doing that for you. But before I do that, I will quickly insert this clip showing one of my all-time favourite products, because I also have a Black Friday deal with this company and they are kindly sponsoring this section of the video. So I thought this was the perfect place to insert this clip. So immediately after this, we'll be getting straight back into my top 2 primers. Many of you know how much I love the Sleep&Glow Omnia Pillow. I talk about it all the time, and I talk about it all the time because this is the best thing ever for really helping me to fight those creases that we all get, especially as we sleep. But I've got some really exciting news. We have an increased discount for Black Friday, which is why I just have to show this to you quickly before it ends. So Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year. So if you've ever thought about trying this Omnia pillow, now is the perfect time. And my 15% discount code will get you an extra discount on top of the Black Friday deals. So you really can get yourself an incredible deal right now. This is not going to last long. So why do I love this pillow so much? Firstly, they've just sent me this new cover. So this is one of their silk covers. Isn't this beautiful? I love the pattern on it, but you can just get plain ones in all sorts of different colours. My other favourite is the pink. But what's so special about these pillows, if you haven't seen me showing you before, is the shape of them. So can you see this little dip here? That's so that your head, which nestles neatly here, when you sleep at night, I sleep on the side, which lots of us do. So when I sleep on the side, if I have a normal pillow, my face would be here and I would be squishing all of this area here. Can you see what's happening there to my eye? This is what we do to ourselves every night when we sleep. That's why we get these crow's feet more than anything, because we are squishing that for however many hours we sleep per night. Not enough for me these days, but still enough to cause damage. But when you sleep with a pillow like Omnia, because of this dip here, your face can rest completely on the pillow, and I'm pushing now as hard as I can. And can you see? Because my face by here is in the dip. So I'm getting all the rest I need, minus all my face being squished. This really is the best way, and obviously you've got it both sides. So when you turn at night, this is really comfortable on my neck as well. I found that I do play around with some other pillows sometimes, and especially if I'm on holiday and I don't take this with me. And I did recently do that on holiday, and I got a cricked neck and it lasted about 5 weeks. So this is also really good for my neck, not just for those wrinkles. This is the only pillow that has been clinically tested, and it has shown that up to 67% of forehead wrinkles are reduced when you use it, and up to 60% of eye wrinkles are reduced when you use it. So that really is, if that doesn't grab you, then what will? Because for me, this is just the easiest thing ever. Nothing else involved, nothing invasive, just a very comfortable night's sleep, and you're reducing those wrinkles. You're not going to reduce the ones you've got, but they're certainly going to look better in the morning because they'll be less puffy and less aggravated, but also you're less likely to increase them the more that you keep this as your regular pillow. So once you've tried this, to be honest with you, it's pretty hard to go to anything else. I am a little bit sad when I can't take this with me on holiday if I've got a small case, but with it being this size, I usually can, depending on how many dresses I've got in my case. So if you've been waiting, now is the time to shop the Black Friday sale for this. It is live right now, and as I said, you can take advantage of their biggest discount of the year, and you can use my 15% discount code on top. So that really is a huge saving. Han Beauty 15 is the discount code, which you've already seen on the screen. They really do these sales, so when these come up, when you get these opportunities, absolutely grab them. All the details of everything I've just told you are below in my video description, so you can get the link. You can also get the discount code in case you forget it, as I often do. This is just a really easy beauty upgrade. You literally get better skin while you get a more comfortable night's sleep. It is a double winner, it really is. And it's a routine I'm not prepared to give up. Anyway, let's now go back to my review. So in number 2 spot, we have the Maybelline Grippy Serum. This is what's the full description? Just Makeup Grippy Primer with 2% niacinamide. This became the #1 primer for me of the summer. The summer when my skin changes. I always have skin changes in the summer where I find things tend to cause me more problems in the T-zone area, and I actually need a little bit less moisturising sort of base. And this became absolutely everything to me. Every time I had a problem with foundation, if I started using this, it fixed it. It was just magic. Obviously it has that gripping thing, but it's just something about this one. It just really, really seemed to work. And it gave me quite a bit of hydration. So you can see it's quite a light, watery serum, and it does have that grip as well. So if you're looking for something that's really going to help your makeup to really stick down, it does the job perfectly. It's never actually interfered with anything. In fact, as I said, it's made everything work better. So I've tested this with pretty much everything because I used it every day for a long time. As if you follow me, I'm sure many of you remember. So I'm not using it now because we've moved into winter, or nearly winter actually, autumn, but cold weather, heating on, skin behaving differently. So I'm now looking for a different sort of primer. But this one, during those warmer weather months and on holiday and going out in the heat, so all sorts of things where my skin is more dry, more sort of, well, I say more dry, it's more dry in the winter with the heating, more exposed to the heat basically, affecting my skin differently and certainly affecting how it behaves and how products behave. This was the key. This was the absolute key. But now you feel a real stick at this point. I say it's not that sticky because when everything goes on top, you don't notice the sticky at all. Now some people might be really put off trying this because of that, but it really does stick. Like I can grab a makeup pen now and look, it's stuck. So it really does stick. This is also super affordable, and I even managed to pick up a backup of this during the mid-year Sephora sale here in the UK, so that was a bargain. So that's how much I've used as well. It's worth noting every single day throughout the whole of the warmer months, and I've still got that much left. And I've got a backup which I paid less than full price. I think full price is only about £10. Don't quote me there, but it's very, very affordable. So I've probably got enough for next summer, and with my backup I've probably got enough for the next 2 summers. So absolute bargain, and the best one I've tried. But now for my #1, and probably these should be joint one really because they both serve exactly the same sort of purpose, but this is my #1 for the winter. But I just adore this. I just adore it, and you will have heard me mention this so many times. Here's the clue about how much I adore it. Don't worry, I have a backup. This is the Bobbi Brown face base. This I love this fragrance of this. And believe it or not, with that tiny amount left, you've still got that fragrance, which smells like sort of geranium. I don't know if it is, I can't remember, but that's what it reminds me of. So now, moving into the warmer months, I need to have something that is super hydrating for my skin health. And I do use my normal skincare routine, but I do skip moisturisers, or certainly a thick moisturiser, if I've got this as my primer, because this serves as primer and moisturiser for me. So my skincare routine right now underneath this is my milky toner, then I go in with vitamin C, then I go in with an SPF, which is always very hydrating. I've put mine away actually, but anyway, I'm usually Korean based, or I've been using the ultraviolet recently, which is, that serves as a primer in itself, but I still want to have something else, not just that, because of this time of year when I need that extra moisture. So this is what goes on last for me, and this is my primer. It also has exactly the same effect as that Maybelline one, which is any problem foundations, use this and it suddenly starts to work brilliantly. It's so cooling, so refreshing. Like immediately my skin feels quite warm, and putting it on just feels so refreshing. I love the whole feel of it. I love the smell of it. My skin adores it. I don't get any dry skin, especially around the nose where I used to get awful dry skin. I never get dry skin with this routine, and my makeup just sits beautifully on top of it. So I have to give this #1 just because it hits so many spots, as in the whole experience, that cooling, the fragrance, everything about it. So I have to give this my #1, but probably the Maybelline is almost joint. In terms of being brilliant and being everything I need, and the one I reach for the most. Pretty much these are split evenly throughout the year at the moment. They are both phenomenal. So there we have it. Number 2, number 1. I'm not sure if it'll look any different. I won't have that stick ability. Well, I'll give you an idea, shall I? I'll put the same pen on this side. I don't think it'll stick. There's no grip. Yeah, there's no grip with the one from Bobbi Brown, but it's not something I usually look for, having a grip, but it's always useful, isn't it, if you want that longevity. So both fabulous in their own ways, different times of the year. So there we are. So now we are moving on to setting powders. So numbers 3, 2 and 1, I'm filming applying all 3. I'm going to use all 3, comparing 2 and using 1 in a different way, which you will find out about as we get there. But at number 5, we have something that was new to me this year, but not new out. And that was the Danessa Myricks Evolution Powder. And this one is in the shade Pink. I can't actually read it, but I know it says pink. Gosh, it's so hard to read. Can you see what that says? I bet you that looks as hard to read as it does to me. Anyway, maybe it's faded, but this is the pink. This is brilliant. I mean, you can see how much I used this when I got it. I mean, I do use a lot of setting powder, but this is brilliant. It's so blurring. The pink is a perfect shade. I like the fact that it's in a mesh, so you don't get in quite as much of a mess, and you do get enough product. I find if I was using, say, something like this, I would just catch what's in there and then tap in. I mean, I could actually go in with a little bit here right now. Maybe I'll do that on both sides, because I did my video where you're going to see 3, 2 and 1 in the ranking earlier, and I've since then gone in with some cream products. But see how instantly it's just blurred this area and got rid of the extra shine I got from those cream products. But with the mesh, if you want to just tap out more, I won't do it now, but you can put your brush in and then tip it upside down onto the brush, and that's how you get more product. And it's a little bit less messy, and I prefer the packaging there, so that's very good. And I've loved it. It does have talc in though. I think everything else I'm showing you is now gone talc free, so it's worth keeping that in mind. This one is probably going to come off the shelves because everything is switching to talc free. I don't know if it's coming off the shelves, but I'd be surprised if it's not. And with that in mind, I did actually get some backups of this because that's how much I really do rate it. But I know it's probably better to be talc free though. So now we're going to number 4. Now you might be quite surprised at the level of quality how this is for, but it is for, and it is the one from Chanel, which I got this year in a different shade, and I got it in this different size pot because they launched this travel size pot, which was brilliant. So this is the POUDRE Universelle Libre, and I've got this in the shade 12 Rosy Light. This one is fantastic for everything, for under the eyes and for the full face. You can do everything with this. It's extremely smooth. Why can't I open it? What am I doing? I'm not pressing the button in here. Yes, I'm having such a good day today. So when you open it, this is one thing I did find a little bit annoying. You open it here, look at the mess it gets in, and you don't have a lid to tap it into. But my way of dealing with it, if I do it now, it's actually going to create more mess, but anyway, let me show you. My way of dealing with that is that you put the lid down and then you flip and then you go like this again, and then when you open it, you've got plenty of product here on this lid, so you can then just take it. Now I've actually got enough product to do my whole face there, so I'll take my fluffy brush, tap a bit off on my hand because I'm just using it here. This is exceptionally blurring. It really is very, very good. You get that Chanel fragrance, which you didn't get, by the way, with the Danessa Myricks. In fact, it's the only fragrance one out of all the ones I'm showing you in this video. But it is very blurring. But I think Danessa Myricks is exactly the same. I do think that one side looks a bit better than the other, and that's because I'm doing a foundation comparison. And this side is not quite as good as this side, in my opinion, of the foundation. So that's just a separate issue if you're thinking it doesn't look so good around the nose. I only really put both of them here as a sort of top up. The Chanel, though, is the softer of the two. The Chanel is so soft. It is as soft as the one I will be showing you that is ranked 2. I'm not giving that away now, but when I talk to you about number 2 being super soft, the Chanel one is also super soft. And everything I'm showing you, obviously with me being nearly 50, these are mature skin friendly, they work brilliantly. I don't find I need to reapply with any of the ones I'm showing you either. I did then, obviously, because I've added creams, but I'm good to go now for the rest of the day. If I find I do powder too much, I like to go in with the One Size powder melt and put a bit of this on, but believe it or not, I will usually go in and put a bit of powder on top of my powder melt because it still gives a little bit of shine around here when you use a spray like that. But I do like to do that. It gives a nice shine everywhere. Saying that, I'll just do my forehead a tiny bit. I might as well go in with the Chanel, seeing as so much of it came out in the lid. I do feel like I've got a tiny bit of shine there. Like I said, that's because of going in with other products after I showed you my number 1, 2 and 3 powders. So there we go, that was number 4, Chanel. Now we're moving to number 3, so here it is. So now we've reached 3 and 2, which I'm going to do side by side because these are both loose powders and my number 1 isn't. So that's why I'm going to put these two side by side, but my number 1 will still be used because we all, well, let's just wait and see for that one. But anyway, no big surprise if you know me, YSL loose powder in blue and Fenty loose powder in lavender, side by side. So the one that's going in 3rd place is the YSL. So this would have been my number 1 if Fenty hadn't come along and stolen all the glory. But as always, they tend to with me. Fenty's just, oh, chef's kiss for me. But you can see how much I got through of this. In fact, I got a backer of this. It's tipped to one edge there slightly. But anyway, you can get the gist. I've used nearly all of it actually. I'd say there's about a 1/3 left. And there's one reason and one reason alone for me that Fenty beats this, and that's because I have to use more of this. That's about it. I would say both of these are exceptional in terms of blurring and lots of longevity as well. So I love this blue shade. I should have shown you actually. That's how it looks on my brush. I will show it to you now in the lid because I will tap out again. But one thing I'll notice immediately using this YSL is I will have to go back in because I feel like my skin is still quite tacky. Now that for me is so important. I don't just want a powder that is going to set my face. I want a powder that is going to completely eliminate any tacky feeling. And because I love to use a really good skincare, and I always love to use a very sort of natural skincare based sort of foundation without completely losing the glow, but somehow not have any tackiness. That is my preference, which is sort of two things that don't really sound like they work together. A dry finish with a super hydrating natural glowy finish. So how do you do that? Well, for me it's by using powders like this on top of exactly that sort of base, and then you find throughout the day that bit of glow does come through but without having that tacky feeling. So this is the blue in the lid now if you want to see the shade. So I need to just go in. This is just half of the face, keep in mind. So I've tapped into the lid and I need to go back in. I'd say my face is still a little bit tacky, not massively. But look how blurring it is, look how perfecting it is. You saw how glowy my face was prior to this. If you now look at my forehead, which is very glowy right now. And this will bring down that glow and it will also have that lovely blurring finish. I love how my makeup sits on top of this powder. I just feel so perfected. I think it's made a really big difference to my whole overall makeup look using this powder and then the Fenty. But this is now, I've gone in a 3rd time. Is it 3rd or the 4th? I've lost count. Anyway, you get the gist. I have to keep going back in to get the amount I feel I need. But can you see the powder? Because I can't. I feel it's invisible. I don't look like I've got a ton of powder on my face. I just look like I've got really smooth skin without that tacky feel, and it is lovely and soft. So now for the one that has knocked it off the top spot. I did genuinely think I'd found my number 1 when we had the tragedy of the Givenchy loose powder being turned into a glowy illuminating powder. I went on the hunt, and as you know if you follow me, I went through so many powders. I thought YSL was it. I didn't think I needed to look any further, but I can't resist trying something when people are saying it's good and it happens to be Fenty, and it also happens to be about half the price of YSL. Double bonus. So this one is the Lavender. I've actually been using the pink a lot lately, but lavender is my preference. So this is what lavender looks like. Maybe I could tap a bit of the blue into the lid so you can see them side by side. The blue, I think, is something we don't get with the Fenty, is we don't get a blue shade. And I do love the blue shade on me. So there's the lavender. You can just about see the lavender in the powder there. I think you can see it. You can also see the difference in the actual powder. You can see with the YSL it sort of stayed where it is. The Fenty is just different. It's more fine. It comes in more sort of clumps, the YSL. The Fenty is more fine. And it's much, much softer. So it's very difficult to get across on camera. But it doesn't sort of come out in chunks like the YSL, which is absolutely fine. It might come out, I say chunks, that maybe is a slightly terrible word, but you can see it's not sliding down the pan. You have to sort of break it up more, whereas the Fenty is already sort of broken up as it comes out. But something that is also different with the Fenty is how softening it is. It really is beautifully soft. I mean, there is quite a lot of it there. It's probably too much actually, because this one, it just seems to do a better job in a quicker amount of time. So the thing that I find incredible about this one is it costs half the amount of the high-end ones, and I use half the amount. Because just that amount on the brush now, and I can immediately feel all that tackiness is gone, completely gone, and it's left me with this beautiful smooth finish. I've just got a hair there on my face. I don't know if that's my brushes or my cat, because my cat managed to get in here disastrously, and ever since I'm finding cat hairs. So now I haven't gone back into the lid, by the way. What I'm doing now is just dipping back into the lid. I haven't actually added more product to the lid. So this is still that first tap, and all of that is done. Going back into the lid again without adding any more. Look how much I've got. I do think more came out into the lid, to be fair. That is one thing on that tap. I did get a bit more, but it's completely done. There's no tackiness, and I really was feeling very tacky. Now if I compare the sides, this is the side that has that deliciously soft finish. YSL soft, Fenty super soft. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And for me, I always have to go around here where I've got all my SPF, because I can't stand the feeling even of an SPF, even when it's had over half an hour now to absorb. I really can't bear the feeling, and this just stops that feeling. So we have the Fenty side, and then we have the YSL. I would say I can see more shine coming through on the YSL side, but I haven't gone under the eyes, and the reason for that is because my #1 powder is going to be used for under the eyes to completely finish. So it was hard for me to decide how to do this order, because I wanted to really put the Fenty loose as a joint first with the one I'm showing you now, but I'm not putting either of these away. I'm just going to alternate between them. But if I had to pick one and only one, it would be the Fenty all day long, which is why that one gets #2 and the YSL gets #3. I do also like the pink in YSL, by the way, but the blue is by far my favourite for my skin tone. I think it's perfect, just like I think the lavender is from Fenty. But at #1, it's Fenty again. Fenty does do very well in my ranking videos. So this one, if you've seen me use this, since I got it, you can see how much I love it. And this one gets #1 because you can use a brush like this and go all over the face. I've stopped doing that because it does the job really, really well, but there's something else I prefer to do with this one. So I go in with a brush like this to set under my eyes. Every day I pretty much use this one. I don't really go with anything else. If you want to go on holiday though, and you just want one powder, this one will do under the eyes. It will do the full face. It will be a finishing powder. It will be a touch-up powder. It will be in your handbag, use it when you need it powder. It will basically do every single thing you could ever need it to, which is why this gets #1. Again, we've got that lovely lavender shade. Now you can see me dipping in a little bit more with this, because obviously I'm not picking up quite as much product. But even under the delicate, mature skin under my eyes, I can be pretty liberal with this without fear of it caking and showing up and looking powdery. It's got a slight brightening finish, which is what I love around the eyes again. and it's very, very, very blurring. I just love it. I think it's perfect, and again, so incredibly affordable. And for me, it beats all of those much more expensive options that I've shown you. Can you see now this side, the YSL side, I said it was a bit still shiny. This has just come in and fixed those areas. But it's worth noting this side, you didn't see any shine around here. I needed this to go on top of the YSL, which again just shows that the Fenty loose on this side was better. So what I also love to do with this, as I said, is go in with this as a finishing powder. So very often when I've gone in now with the rest of my makeup, I might need to add some sort of finishing touches around here because I might have put more creams on top, or I just want to balance up. That's what it's also perfect for. So it does the job of literally all of those things. I'm sorry it looks so messy, but I want to be quite real with you. This is how it looks. It hasn't hard panned, by the way, with me putting brushes in and out. And obviously the brushes are hitting foundation and going in and out, and I'm just using it quickly, and it hasn't hard panned at all. I mean, there is a slight mark there, which is possible. Is that hard pan? No, it isn't. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a little bit there. Sorry. The rest of it hasn't, and that's because I'm not very careful. I'm just in, out constantly all the time. I don't think this will be with me for too much longer. Backup is required. But this has been an absolute revelation for me this year. It really has. It hasn't left my desk since the minute I got it, just like the loose one from Fenty. It's in my top. I've got a drawer here of powders. It's right at the front of the drawer, and it continues to be. I did also get the Fenty puffs if you want a good puff. These are very good. I just don't use puffs. I tend to use the brush. I feel I get a little bit less product when I use a brush like this. This, by the way, is the Nikki LaRose N14 brush from BK Beauty. I use that one all the time for under the eye and the T-zone. I find when you use a puff, even if you're tapping off, you can sometimes get a bit too much. It can press too much product in. I know some people really prefer that, but for me personally, I don't. But if you like a good puff, it is a good puff. So there we go. So now you've seen all of my favourite setting powders. Just one thing I wanted to mention, which I forgot, is with the Fenty, it's the only one out of all of them that has this option to close it off here, so you can turn it here. I'm turning it the wrong way, so that when you travel it doesn't all tip into the lid. Just that tiny little adjustment in the most affordable one out of all the ones I've shown you, and it has that. So that's a little bonus of the Fenty one that I forgot to show you. So there we go, that's my top 5. It has been quite the year, as I said, for trying out powders and trying to find ones after loving so much the Givenchy loose powder until they changed the formula and made it shiny. But I've now found ones that I actually prefer. I actually do not miss it anymore. I'm over the moon with everything. I mean, I prefer the Chanel over the Givenchy now. I know this has been out forever and I've only just recently fallen in love with it, but I actually prefer this because I think it works better under the eyes as well. So that's something I didn't mention as well, going back on myself. The Fenty loose powder, perfect under the eyes. You do not need to get the pressed powder and do both. If you want one powder that does it all, this one does too. So that's a double bonus of both of these Fenty powders. This one will do everything under the eyes and the face, as will the pressed one. You'll find it quicker to use the loose powder because it just does the job a bit more quickly and you're not having to go in and out, but then you're not getting the mess with the pressed. And with the YSL, which I've now put away, and I've got to move my Fenty pink out of my drawer to get to YSL at the back if you want to know the truth of how my drawer is organised, because that'll show you why it's number 1 and number 2. I'm sorry about Florrie, she's off barking. The YSL also works very well under the eyes and for the whole of the face as well. So Chanel does it, YSL does it, Fenty does it. They all do. You don't need to have both if you've got those. That's another reason why these are such good powders. And the same as Danessa Myricks. All of them. All tested a lot by me in the last year compared with Givenchy, compared to others. These are my absolute top 5 and they're all winners for exactly those reasons. They do all of those jobs. They all blur. They all take down the tackiness and they just do a fabulous job. They are so good. They don't emphasize any sort of texture. They certainly don't give you that glow that we get with the new Givenchy. One powder that should have been maybe in my top 10 but wasn't, top 5 rather, was the Givenchy Press, the new one. I did love that. In fact, I hit pan on it when I tried it, but then Fenty came along and just took it away. So it didn't make it in. So before I go, I'm going to look at what my top 5 was for last year. So last year I had the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder, which I did believe was replacing my Givenchy. I thought I've already found it. Within a very short time of searching, I found it, but then along came all of these others and replaced it. So that's why it's not in the top 5, but I would say it'd probably be ranking around 6. Another one I had in my top 5 was the One Size Beauty Ultimate Blurring Setting Powder in Ultra Pink. And this one is, again, I would probably put that at 7 because it's still very good. It's just not as blurring and not as good under the eyes for me, that one. And then we had Tarte Creaseless Setting and Brightening Powder in Lavender. This is one of the nicest powders you can have for under the eyes. It is gorgeous, but it's not as good as the Fenty. Again, Fenty has stolen a lot of spots from people. Then we had the Givenchy Pressed Powder, and that, like I said, is definitely there. It's definitely very, very close to being in the top 5. And I also tried the Tower 28 Get Set Blur and Set Pressed Powder, which was in my top 5 last year, which I thought was a very decent powder. But I will be honest with you, my top 5 was not quite the magic top 5 I've got this year. The top 5 this year is phenomenal. Any of the 5, phenomenal. Last year, Tower 28 was like, oh, what can I put at number 5? So that was that list. And with primers, I didn't do a top 5 of primers last year, but I did do a full face of my favourites. And my 2 favourites in that video that I mentioned were the Myricks, so that's still in my top 5, and the Bobbi Brown was my favourite. So those 2 are still in my top 5. Myricks is 5th, as we've seen today, and Bobbi Brown is still holding on at number 1. So there we go. I felt like I was doing the top 40 then, holding on at number 1 spot. Anyone remember recording the charts? Did you do that? Did you make those tapes where we listened to the top 40 on Radio 1? Oh, I used to love doing that. Anyway, I'm waffling, and I'm not even waffling about beauty now, I'm just waffling. So I'm off to go and get a coffee and wake up a bit and edit all of this for you and hopefully get it out soon. So do look through my Black Friday deals, like I said, including the fabulous one from Sleep&Glow. And I'd like to say a big thank you today to Sleep&Glow for sponsoring this video. I'm ever so grateful. I love working with Sleep&Glow. They are absolutely brilliant, and it's one of the best products ever. I highly recommend it, and it's definitely worth grabbing it whilst this offer is on. I don't think I get a discount this good. Again, I don't think I do. I could be wrong. Do I get it once later next year? I'm not sure. Anyway, if you want one, treat yourself. It's at a discount. But anyway, if you found this video helpful, I'd be over the moon if you hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. But if you already are, you're at the end of another video, and I am so grateful to all of you. I truly am. I really do hope to see you all again for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.